Okay, so this is your mountain math for today. I'm just going to go through and make sure you understand, again, what you're doing on each of the problems and maybe how to set them up a little bit. And then I did a couple of extra videos for specific problems that might need a little bit more instruction. So remember, on 1A through 1E, you're just using this number here, and you are answering all these questions about this particular number. So don't forget, you have to write this number in words. That's your very first one. And then you'll say odd or even, and then you're going to round it, round it, round it. Okay. Number 2, I would rewrite it and just go ahead and multiply. Remember, your decimal in your answer is going to jump 2 times because up here it jumped 2 times. So you will have 2 rows of answers down here though, because remember, you go over here. So when you get to your final answer, you'll jump your decimal twice. Number 3, you're just going to divide. Number 4, you're looking for n, and keep in mind that that equal sign is the division line. So everything over here is going to equal to this right here. So n is, you're going to plug a number in for n. So you're going to want to write down n equals something right here. Okay, number 5, you're doing a greater than, less than, or equal to in the box. So you should be able to do that. Solve the equation. Remember, you're going to want to, when you're adding decimals, you're going to line up the decimal points before you add them. Here you're going to multiply again. This is just like up here on number 2. Oops, sorry. I didn't realize you guys couldn't see that. Up here on number 2, where you're going to set this up. So 0.03 times 12, go ahead and multiply it, and then you're going to jump your decimal at the end. Okay, over here, you're writing the place value of the 5. So in each of these numbers, the 5 is in a different place. So you find the 5 and then figure out which place value it is. Number 9, write as a numeral. So they've written it in words, you're going to write it as a number. Number 10, write as a number. And if you go 3 times 1,000, you get 3,000. 6 times 10 is 60. And you go so on, and then you add all those things up. Okay, so each of these is sort of its own little thing. This is like when we used to do, we would take each place value and separate it out. Okay, on this you're gonna add and subtract. There's no decimal points here, so it's actually decimal points at the end. I'm just telling you that so that you know you're not adding a decimal point in. Everything would be in the thousands because I don't see a decimal point. Okay, number 12, estimate. So you can round this off, and then you'll add them together to get a total answer there. Okay, perimeter. If you remember from yesterday, I told you perimeter, you add up all the sides. So if this is 7 on this side and that's 21 on this side, you would plug those in, add all of them up for the perimeter area. You're going to take this times this to get the area. Okay, on the back, I did a special video for the least common multiple and the greatest common factor. So if you need help on those 2 problems, you can pull up this separate video. This, you're going to name this. Just so you know, I'll be okay if you don't figure this one out because I know that we haven't worked on this yet. But this is, these 2 are, they're intersecting each other, but there's another word for it, and it actually starts with a P. So if you can figure out what that means, then it starts with a P. Okay, number 17, I did a separate video for that also. So if you need help on this one, pull up the video for number 17 with the average. And I actually want you to do the range and the median also. It's not written on there, but I'm changing that a little bit. Okay, number 18, you're going to add the fractions. Remember, when you add fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So in this case, I'm going to change them both to something else. I could do 24 because 4 times 6 is 24, which is totally fine. But if you choose a smaller number like 12, then you will have less reducing at the end. Okay, so you guys know how to do that. I did a separate video for this one. This is actually the same problem as yesterday. But if you have a question about how to answer this, I did a separate video, so pull that up. Okay, finding the product, 5.5 times 2/3. Remember, if I were you, I would change this to an improper by saying 2 times 5 is 10, 10 plus 1 is 11. I would change it to 11 halves and get rid of that 5.5. And then you can either cross reduce or you can just multiply straight across and then reduce at the end. Okay. Reducing the fraction, there will be a number that goes into the top and the bottom evenly, and you keep going until you get to the very lowest possible. Okay, changing this to a mixed number, you take your bottom number into your top. So 10 goes into 88. I'm going to give you a little hint. 10 times 8 is 80. So that's your whole number. And then you got to figure out what's left over. That's what goes right there. And then your bottom denominator is 10. And then if you need to reduce, you can reduce from there. Okay. Adding these, you've got to make sure you have a common denominator on your fraction part. So if you can change your sixth into 12ths, I would suggest doing that. So 6 times something gives you 12, 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. So now I have 6 and 2/12 plus 3 and 1/12. And then you can add the 1/12 plus the 2/12 to give you something else. And then the 3 plus the 6 give you something else, and then reduce. Okay, write this as a fraction or decimal. They gave you a fraction, so you're going to turn it into a decimal. Remember, if it's over 100, that means it's 2 spots after the decimal. So you should be able to just plug that number in and be good to go. Okay, I did a separate video for number 25 about the ratio. So if you don't understand that one, pull that up. On number 26, you're going to be doing these 3 plots. Okay, so remember, you go over first. You always go over for the first one and then up for the second one. So A would be over to 14, up to 14, and so on. Okay, name the point on that number line. So you need to tell me what A is equal to, what B is equal to, and C is equal to. And this 14 is there, and the 15 is here. That may not have come through, but just so you know, 14 there, 15 there. Okay? Okay, you guys are doing so awesome. I'll see you later.